fucking food whore. Has to eat all the time.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe he's growing.
He looks pretty fit though.
He is. He's very nimble. Very affectionate too.
Do you know how old he is?
He's 1 year and 3 months.
Really?
Yep.
That's way younger than I thought.
Because I think when you came on the second podcast, I didn't have him yet.
Mm-hmm.
But then I got him.
Yeah.
I got him in September from Kayakota, and when I went in there, he, like, instantly, I turned to the left. I was looking at all the cats, and for some reason, he kept batting at the cage and like trying to get my attention. So I went up and I petted him, and he would go to one side of the cage and he would like fall down and do a somersault.
Oh yeah.
And then he'd get up and then he'd go to the other side and I'd be petting him and he'd do a somersault. It was like no other cat wanted me. It was like he was like grabbing my attention.
Yeah.
So I feel like I didn't even pick him. Like he chose me as an owner.
Yeah.
And was like, you take me home.
Yeah. I think cats are like that. Cats they can like choose their owner or like who they want to own. Like I had a cat in my family and I think it chose me. It would always just be around me instead of my other family members. It'd just be like it'd be like on me all the time.
That's how. So at my parents' house, we have a cat, Chester, and Cade, my little brother. He was the one that went out and picked the cat, but like Chester likes him more than anybody else in the house. And so now when I go back over there, Chester doesn't want anything to do with me.
Yeah.
I'm like, you little fucking shithead.
Yeah.
I fucking miss you, but he don't like me.
Yeah.
He just wants to be with Cade, so he'll go downstairs and hang out with him.
Yeah, that's a funny thing.
But then I got Miller, and Miller's been my little dude ever since September.
Yeah.
But they're kind of like toddlers too. Like, I don't know if you noticed on my cork board, he tore up that whole left side. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. They're not all cute and cuddly all the time.
He seems pretty chill.
He's chill. He's not, like, he doesn't hate people. Like, anybody that comes in, he's friendly with them. Like, he wouldn't attack anybody.
Yeah.
The only time that he's had issues is I had a friend that I worked with at COC, and she brought her cat over one time, and they had like a little play date.
Yeah.
Which I don't really want to do, but I was just feeling nice, so I let her come over.
Yeah.
And her cat was sniffing Miller and kept getting up behind him, and then Miller started hissing. I had never heard Miller hiss before.
Wow.
But if you're going to introduce a new cat to an existing cat, and this is Miller's territory, it takes them a while to like get to know each other before they feel comfortable. That would happen no matter what. Like if you had one cat and then you went out and you bought another cat, or if I brought home a dog, Miller would probably hide for a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be tough. Yeah, I feel you. That is crazy.
But he's low maintenance. That's what I like about cats is they don't require a whole lot of work. Like he goes in there and he shits. He's got his bowl right here with his food and his water. Yeah. And I can leave all day and not worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah. That is really nice. That's the best part, I think. Maybe not that, but like having the connection is probably the best part.
I mean, I think he really helped like in the winter, you know? Like I wasn't really hanging out with anybody. I was kind of feeling lonely, didn't really have any women around, no prospective girls. Yeah. That was like one of the toughest things through COVID is like, dude, the dating life was non-existent.
Non-existent, yeah.
What's your dating life like? I know that
Non-existent,
girl gave you her number at the gym.
Oh yeah, she turned out being a high schooler.
Oh no!
So
no!
So I was like, I can't do this.
Bicycle booty. Oh no!
That's true. Yeah.
Damn, so you're like stiff arm.
Yeah. Well, she's like, yeah, pretty much.
You didn't find anything out in Utah? There was no opportunities with like the girls that you met?
No, there are. I mean, there were a lot of like, I don't know, pretty much all of my friends that are girls from out there, they were just, I mean, I saw them as friends and friends only, pretty much. I didn't want to risk trying to make something out of it if like it wouldn't work, because we'd be moving across the country in like in April anyways, and so I'd just be like, I'll be like, we'll just be friends and good friends. But I mean, I dated a little bit.
Like you were in a relationship, or
No.
Or just talked to some girls?
Yeah, I'd go on dates, and there was this one girl who I was not with, but we were kind of a thing for like a couple months out there. Yeah, but But besides that, a little bit. I mean, I was kind of like college. I mean, like it might mostly be like friends. Like my friends' friends from college would come to visit, and then they would be kind of like more interested in like dating or like the ski bum life or like the ski bum guys like us, like me and my other friends. So, but yeah, not too much. No, pretty lonely.
Pretty dull. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, there for a while before I got in a relationship, I was trying like Tinder and Bumble and Hinge and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But honestly, that shit never worked out. Like in the 4 or 5 years that I've used those apps, off and on, I've met one girl.
Really?
Yeah, and she, I mean, not to like call her out on the podcast. I don't know if she would ever watch this podcast.
Is it going?
It's going, man.
Oh,
yeah,
sweet.
we're going, bro.
Okay. There we go.
So no holds barred. Now we can just lay it all out there.
There you go.
Yeah, she pretty much was very insecure, and so she hid like all of her bodily features. Like in her pictures, she would only have pictures of her face, and then I looked at her on Facebook. I think she added me at some point before we met up, and I could see that she was a little bit chunkier.
Yeah.
But she wasn't showing that on Tinder, so it created this false illusion, and it was like she was pretty insecure about that stuff. And you tend to find, and this could come from both sexes on dating apps, but it's usually people that are insecure or broken that use dating apps because they're afraid to meet people in person, afraid to put themselves out there. Or people are looking for a rebound. They're trying to get over like a relationship, so they put a fucking Band-Aid over the pain by hooking up with somebody. Or it's a hookup.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what these dating apps, a lot of people use them for. It's just for fun.
Yeah.
There's very few people that end up in relationships off of a dating app.
Really? I think, you're probably right. At least that's been my experience. I can't think of anybody who's gotten in a long-term relationship off of a dating app.
There's been a few. Like, I know a few people that actually got married off of Tinder.
Really?
Yeah. Which, again, I'm speaking from my experience, is like you would match up with girls, but none of them carried on the conversation long enough to show that they were actually interested to like, have something of depth to build a connection. Like, I just think it's a hard place to find like a good quality girl. Maybe there are some out there. Maybe I just didn't run into them.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, and then it's like people from high school or like Simpson people or just some random people
or high schoolers dropping off their numbers in your locker.
High schoolers,
yeah.
But I think I saw something where it's like the top 10% of men on the dating app, or like 10% of men receive like 80% of all the likes from women. So it's like, the top 10, like the most attractive men, they like get the most attention
all
from
pussy.
Yeah. That the 90 get like the last 20% of likes or something like that.
The bottom feeders.
Which is all
the girls that are desperate.
Yeah.
They're like munching on the garbage that's left at the bottom of the trash can.
Oh yeah. They're like eating the bottom fry out of the bag.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was just my experience though. It was like there was never really any good quality girls, and I don't know. I think like it just at some point it became like a waste of time, and then I found Jaden. I mean, her and I worked together, so that's how I met her. So it really, it just depends on who you are around, and it was hard to do it in college because this whole last year there wasn't events, there weren't things to do on campus. You had the mask, you had the social distancing, and I didn't live on campus, so that wasn't really an option for me.
Yeah.
That whole socialization aspect of college had been somewhat stripped a little bit.
And like meeting somebody online or like on a dating app is way different from meeting them in person and like just establishing like somewhat of like a friendship or like general knowledge of each other.
Yeah. Well, and you can't read them. You can't read their social cues or their nonverbal cues. You just have to rely on a text. Well, a text can be interpreted in like 1,000 different ways.
Yeah. Like last week I met somebody new from Simpson at this mutual friends like engagement or get together, and I never knew him before, and so I met him there, and then like later that week, or I guess earlier this week, like we saw each other at the gym. We like said what's up, and it's like it's easier to establish like some sort of just like general like knowledge of each other, like not friendship, but like
Well, you gotta start
acquaintances.
Yeah. You gotta start somewhere, like in
Yeah.
a friendship, and it's not just gonna blossom right away.
Yeah.
But you gotta get that awkward, like, oh hey bro, like I saw you at the party last weekend. Like, what's your name?
Yeah.
Like if you forgot who he was.
Yeah.
But yeah, human interaction. That's what everybody kind of missed during COVID.
Yeah. The meeting period is different. Like that's like probably the hardest thing to get to. Like just meeting somebody new.
Yeah.
You have to have like the right environment, or like if you're like at the grocery store, you don't want to have some random person come up to you and just like try to become your friend. Like it just seems unnatural or just like impure. But
it's awkward.
Yeah. So
I mean, even at I don't know. I made a lot of friends at the YMCA, and I wonder like, you know, what happened over the years, because I feel like when I was younger, I made a shit ton of friends, like Angie and all them who are still kind of around. But then as I got older, like, I don't know, I feel like people talk less and less in the gym. And we talked about this on the first podcast. You were saying how, like, when you come in the gym, maybe it's not like a disrespectful thing, but you just don't really want to talk to people. If you want to have your earphones in and you want to get to your workout.
Yeah, and plus I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like other people aren't really there. I just assume people aren't there to like socialize or meet other people. They're just there to, you know, work out and then get out pretty much. Yeah. But I mean, obviously you worked at the Y, so you know what it's like, or how people are in terms of like interacting and if they want to talk to you or be friends.
Well, I think for me it's a mindset thing. So if I'm coming in there not to work but to work out, I don't want to talk to people as much because I want to get my workout done. Yeah. But I'm usually coming in at a time where you might be there, or like I got friends there, and so we just naturally fall into a conversation. Yeah. But when I'm working, I love talking to people, and I love fucking up my friends' workoutes because I can actually stand there and talk to them for a lengthy period of time. Yeah. Like me and Michaela Ozella, she would come in on Monday nights when I was still working Monday nights, and we would talk for like 2 hours, and she would never get her workout done. But they were some of the best conversations that I ever had. Yeah. And I really got to know her just from talking that long.
That's sweet. Do you think you recommend doing something like that? Like when I go to Wisconsin, like work a night job at a gym? Be like a front desk person?
Yeah, I mean, because you'd probably definitely find a lot of people that are the same age as you, like-minded college-age kids or just graduated that are taking care of their fitness. That might be a good way to just, you know, fucking find a few friends.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
I think a lot of my social skills blossomed when I started working at the Y. Yeah. Because you had to constantly face people. But I'm still anxious. Yeah. I'm still anxious around people.
Definitely.
It never goes away.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that might be a little less anxious being on the upstairs desk instead of the bottom one, like greeting people or talking to people who are new. Kind of. Yeah. When you're upstairs, you kind of just chill out, it seems like.
And I think maybe like you were saying earlier about your dad and how you guys have never really reached the deep level of conversation. I think that's always kind of my default, is I want to go to a deep conversation because I know I'm capable of it, and I know that deep conversations are fun. But realistically in this life, a lot of people don't have the ability to go there. So like it feels like when you're talking to somebody or you're starting a new friendship, you know, it very much is like superficial, like surface level conversations. Yeah. And for me, if I go too long without a deep conversation, I don't like it. Yeah. Because I like to work shit out up in my head, and I think deep conversations do that. Yeah. Like you got so much shit that you're talking about. Yeah. You're like bouncing all over the place.
You try to cut through the bullshit pretty much.
Yeah, because everybody's talking about COVID or the weather.
Yeah, the random like stuff that doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've heard it a million times from the same people. Like, oh, how's the weather, Johnny? Yeah. It's the same, man.
It's the same, yeah, just look outside.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you, this is one thing I was thinking about before you came over. What's your music taste been like? I know we kind of always like talk about music.
Yeah, lately, who have I been listening to a lot lately? I've been getting back into hip hop a lot, like modern, like rappers. Like, I'm really into Lil Baby, Moneybagg Yo, Benny the Butcher. Benny the Butcher is sick. Those sound like fake names, but those are like real rapper names too, by the way.
Hasn't Benny been around a lot longer? He's been around longer though, right? Than some of those like Lil Baby.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yo.
I don't know how
Yeah.
old he is, but
He's been around. I think he's a little bit like on the older side. Freddie Gibbs I've been listening a lot too. He's older too. Freddie Gibbs and Benny the Butcher, they collab every now and then.
Freddie Gibbs had a solid project with the Alchemist, Alfredo.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, Alfredo's incredible.
I love the Alchemist, man, and I love the people that he works with.
Yeah.
He just dropped, I think it's like an EP, and he had 2 songs on there that had Earl Sweatshirt on there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's one called Nobles, and it's Earl Sweatshirt in navy blue, and it's a great track.
I listened to the one with Bunny, like Big Bunny Boss or something.
Big Bunny.
That was like a single he released.
Oh.
But no, I didn't know he had a new EP. I'd have to check that out for sure, though.
Yeah, it's only like 4 tracks, but he
Yeah.
just released it, and Earl's on there twice, and I think the track with Earl in navy blue was the first single, and I was like, oh damn, this is really good.
Yeah.
I just like the Alchemist. I love everything that he puts
Yeah.
out. He's collabed with so many different artists over the years.
Doesn't he like not have a cell phone either? You have to like reach him by email, I think.
Probably.
I think I heard that.
The dude's in the studio working all the time.
Yeah, like no distractions whatsoever. If I could get to that level, like of just like being either so focused or also coincidentally not giving like a shit about outside stuff, not having a cell phone would be like the peak of just like.
I think that's maybe one of the next steps that like both of us could take in life. I think that's where a lot of like this artificial anxiety and weird feelings come from too, is just being distracted all the time. That's why I think like sometimes when I'm talking to people, I feel like I'm all over the place, like in the conversation, and I feel like people can tell that I'm distracted.
Yeah.
And then you get in your head when they're talking, like, can they tell that
Yeah.
I'm all over the place? So it would help to limit your distractions and just be solely focused on one thing, because we're all the time, we're penetrated by computer screens, phone screens, notifications,
Distracted,
text messages. How can you focus on one thing?
Definitely. Yeah, I'm that way for sure. Yeah, especially like when you're bored and don't have anything else to do, you feel like you check your phone way too more often, or you just are looking for some sort of acknowledgement or like notifications,
dopamine rush.
Yeah, basically.
Have you ever heard of like dopamine detoxes? Where they talk about, I mean, essentially getting rid of anything that would give you dopamine. So we get dopamine a lot from, like you said, getting on Facebook, and we want to see like if people have commented on that new picture where we were like flexing or whatever. Or you get dopamine from eating like shitty food because it feels good. You're like, oh, this is like mouth pleasure.
Oh yeah.
Or you could get dopamine from porn. So people that are so dopamine dependent, when you get on this dopamine detox, you're literally like resetting your brain to enjoy doing hard things like meditation or reading a book or journaling or just even being bored. Just sitting with yourself and listening to your thoughts. And it depends on how much you rely on those things, but some people talk about how they feel depressed when they first get on a dopamine detox because they're so used to getting flooded with dopamine all the time.
Yeah.
And I've kind of thought I was like, that's an interesting concept. I think I would like to try that one time.
So how long does it last until you just feel like you're okay?
I think you could choose, like, something that I try and do is like monthly challenges. And so maybe you could set it up in a way that you could build that up. You could do like a week where you just do like a dopamine detox, or maybe it's a day.
Yeah.
Maybe you start with a day and you're like, man, I felt really good. I felt really productive, or I felt engaged in the thing that I was doing. And then maybe you take a week off of that.
Yeah.
And then maybe you're like, wow, dude, this is really like doing something good for my life. So maybe I'll take a month off. Like back in August of last year, that's when I found out about NoFap.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. You were doing that when I came by last.
Yeah, that was it, man. That was like one of my favorite challenges because it was hard. It was like, and I didn't make it 30 days, but I don't think you're always going to be successful in your first attempt. So I think I went like 16 days, which is pretty good for any man nowadays that isn't in a relationship.
Yeah, that's incredible. 16 is really good.
16, dude, I had this fucked up dream on the 16th day. I had this dream where like I was with a girl, but I was like forcing her to have sex with me.
Oh wow.
And I think because my brain was so used to getting a release, you know, let's say if I looked at porn, it was like every 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
The fact that I had gone 16 days without getting a release, my brain was freaking, so my subconscious was like, that's how it worked it out. Like I had like a wet dream, and I was like really aggressive and almost like tribalistic and like forcing this girl to have sex with me.
Oh wow.
And I was like, dude, that's scary.
That is kind of freaky.
So then I chose the next day to give in and you know, break my no fap 16-day streak.
That's pretty good. I bet you can get 17 at least next time if you try it.
Oh, I ended up getting 36. That was my high.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh dang! I didn't know you kept going after that.
Yeah, well, I would fail. You know, I would go like 16 days, and then the second attempt, I got like 24 days, and then I just kept like barely going up. Like I would get 25 the next time, and I was like, dude, this is so frustrating. And I don't know. I mean, again, you have to try it to see if it actually works for you. But now that I'm in a relationship, it really doesn't. Well, I don't ever look at porn. Or I don't beat off. Now I have a girlfriend, so. You can
it can
do
read
stuff
between the lines.
You can do other stuff.
So what's your challenge this month?
Well, I tried to get my sleep schedule back to a normal like routine, and then I wanted to journal as well. So I was saying I'm gonna wake up at 8 in the morning each day. Just have something to rely on. So wake up at 8. And then go to bed at midnight, so you're getting 8 hours of sleep roughly. Yeah. And then I wanted to do a dream journal in the morning to kind of keep track of what I was dreaming of. And then at the end of the night, I wanted to do like more of an emotional journal or just things that I'm thinking about. But as you can tell, the first 2 days I failed, and then I went 3 in a row, and then I failed the next 2. Yeah. It's hard to build habits.
Yeah, it can be. It takes a while for sure. I think it takes like 2 weeks or something at least. To like get used to it or in a rhythm?
I think it's more like.
Maybe more than
I think I read somewhere that it takes like 65 days.
Oh, that sounds more like.
To like set it in where you don't even think about it anymore. You just do it.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you have to start small. You have to start with one thing, and know that you're gonna fail. Yeah. But then start to do more shit as you become more disciplined.
Yeah, like with like working out or like doing exercise. Like when I started working out or exercising, I just would do like every other day, and that seemed like a lot. And then you just be like, and then now like every other day seems like, honestly, I don't know. I gotta do something like every day. I think. Yeah. Something like it doesn't have to be something big, but at least something, like exercising. It's just like a great release for anxiety.
Yeah. What's your routine like when you wake up? Like, how do you go throughout your day? What do you normally do?
Well, it depends. Like, it depends what I have to do for the day. Like, what I was doing this winter, or when I was like working like every day, it's obviously different than like this 2-week period I have. But like right now, right now I'm just been trying to catch up on sleep, so sleeping in as late as I can, which is probably only like 8:30, 9 a.m., which isn't that late, but
that's not bad at all.
Yeah, but and then drinking coffee, and then do some sort of exercise, and then shower, eat, all the typical, and then like start doing my work or like looking for apartments, for example, that I've been doing, like emailing, like setting up stuff for Wisconsin. That's like sort of what I do. I try to get the stuff out of the way that I like don't want to think about.
Don't want to do, yeah.
Like working out, like if you work out in the morning, you don't have to think about it for the rest of the day. And like same for like if you don't work out until like the night, you just like in the back of your head, you're like, okay, I got to do some sort of exercise later today. And like, I like both.
I think it depends. I was talking about this with a member at the gym today. Like, if you work out too close to your bedtime, you're too ramped up that you can't, like, decompress and go to bed. Because you're so wired from your workout. But I feel like the benefit to working out later in the day is that you've had, like, 2 or 3 meals and you've snacked. So you have all that fuel in you to, I think, have the most effective workout. If you were to try and lift weights in the morning, I don't know. When I did it, I didn't feel like I was getting that good of a pump.
I think you're right. And then like afterwards, like the afternoon, you can feel pretty exhausted. Yeah. Like you feel the immediate like adrenaline rush, and then when you're done, you feel incredible. But then like couple hours after that, you're kind of crashing, like physically, you're just
Yeah.
exhausted.
Yeah.
So I like both. I think working out in the afternoon. I think you're right. More about afternoon, evening is the prime time to be exercising.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe I could try it sooner, but I remember last summer, because I wouldn't have anything to do before I would go to work, so I would just work out in the morning. That'd be the first thing that I would do. And it was nice, because you didn't have to think about it for the rest of the day, but I just felt like I was always kind of off, and I felt like it was hard to get going in the morning. I think you could maybe do, like, cardio in the morning. You could do, like, a fasted cardio, and that'd be fine. But if you're trying to, like, throw some weights around, you need something in your system. You need to eat, because otherwise it's gonna be hard to. I just have like no energy if I don't have things in my body.
Yeah, that's why I drink so much coffee excessively.
Really?
I'm addicted to
Does
coffee.
that fuck with your anxiety?
A little bit. It can make me anxious like in the moment that I first like feel like really energized from it, but for the most part, I'll be okay for the most part. But yeah. It took a bit of an adjustment period.
Yeah.
As it would.
I just know, like, if I'm anxious, I'm like, it's probably not a good idea to drink coffee because it's just gonna make me more anxious.
Yeah.
But I love coffee.
Yeah.
I feel like I keep chasing the feeling of when I first started drinking it, and it gave me such a rush of like euphoria. And then ever since then, I haven't been able to find that feeling. So that's why I keep drinking it. It's like every alcoholic drinks to the end of the bottle to get some revolutionary idea.
Yeah.
Like they're just drinking themselves into an oblivion.
Chasing that high, that initial high.
Yeah. It's the same thing with drugs.
Yeah.
So going back to the whole dopamine thing, when people are on certain types of drugs, they target those areas in the brain. That's why people go for it, because it feels so good. Like they're chasing this elusive dream that they can't ever catch again, but they love that high, they love that chase, but the come down is always terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've been on your phone for too long, I don't know, like even 15 to 20 minutes of scrolling on like Instagram, I feel like, I'm like, oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to get up.
Yeah.
I need some water. I need to hydrate.
Yeah, I need to like wash my hands or something.
Wash your hands?
I don't know, just something clean, yeah. I feel that way sometimes, honestly. You just wash your hands.
What's your worst habit? What's the thing that you do that you fucking hate and you wish you could change immediately if you had the willpower?
That I could like something that I do like constantly.
You were talking about how in Utah you became more self-aware. What is the one thing that if you could correct about yourself, if it was a habit or something that you don't like that you do, what would you change?
I wish I didn't avoid going up to somebody avoid like talking to somebody pretty much, probably that, because like you'd be in situations where I'd be around new people, and if I don't like go introduce myself immediately, then I just end up like never will.
Yeah.
And then you'll just never just sort of, I don't know, be confident enough to just start talking with somebody or just making a new friend. Pretty much that. It's just pretty much maybe like lack of confidence, I guess.
So do you have like an initial thought to go up to that person? You have the thought, but then you disregard the thought and you don't do it? Or you're like afraid to do it and you just you're like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Well, I was just like, why would I go do that now? Like, we'll just wait until something naturally comes up, and then sometimes it never does.
So you make like an excuse.
Yeah. Even like I went to this like garden area in Utah by myself, like during the day, like my off day. I'd go up to this garden, and then it'd just be me, and I saw this like older woman, and she kind of like reminded me of my grandma, who'd like go to the gardens, go to public parks. And that's like and so I was like, okay, Mitch, I mean, it doesn't really matter, just go start talking, you know. She was there by herself, and so she might have been like, who knows, maybe her husband was dead, or she was just a lonely old woman. And so I just went up and talked to her, and just started talking to her, and it like made her day, and like, I don't know, it just felt nice.
I don't know where I saw this. I'm pretty sure it was like a YouTube video or something, but people that have social anxiety, you literally, like when you have that initial thought to go up and talk to somebody, you have 5 seconds to do it. Otherwise your brain's going to like fucking paralyze you and you're going to overthink it. So, I mean, I definitely have the same problem as you do. Like I always thought that when I was in the coffee shop or something and I would see a cute girl
I'm like, well, go up and talk to her. What's stopping you? What's preventing you? But then the more that you sit there on the other side looking at her and you don't do it, you're like, nope, I'm not going to do it today.
Yeah.
So you almost, going back to like this whole overthinking thing, it's not really a concrete solution. You literally just have to start doing the things that you're uncomfortable. And it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be like nails against a chalkboard. But you're going to, the more that you consciously try and do it and reroute like the thing that you're overthinking, it's going to get easier over time. I don't think it'll ever be perfect, but it'll get easier.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's what I've realized myself too. But that's sort of something that I've hated, that I wish I could break. I wish I could break the habit of just like expecting to be like I don't even know where I'm going with this actually. That's a deep question. Do you have one that you think of like right away, that you think like a habit that you do every day and you're like consciously being like, all right, I'm doing this. I wish I wasn't, but I'm doing this.
I don't know if I could think of a habit right away, but it's kind of the same line as you. I just wish I didn't overthink things. I wish I could find a way to be more present in my life.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so many times where I'm not doing anything. Like I'm just sitting here in the apartment and I've gotten so accustomed to like being such a fearful person that it literally will intrude on a lot of my thoughts. Like I'll have a thought come up about my past or like a situation that I had been in, and I'll start to panic about that thought. And there's times in my life where it's a little bit worse, and then there's times where it kind of like dips off and I don't notice it. But I feel like with all the progress I've made, it's still something that really affects me. So I guess the thing that I would like to change the most is to not be a perfectionist anymore. Because the thing that I think ruins me the most is that I'm so harsh on myself. And something that I notice in conversations is, and this is part of that overthought process, is when I'm talking to somebody, if I can feel my attention fading and I focus too much on the pauses in between my words, that ruins my thought. And then I can't be present with the conversation. And so like, I'm a perfectionist. It's like people don't think about those things when they're talking to regular humans, but that's what I think of when I'm around people. I feel like people are always constantly judging me. And so it is a deep question, because it's like that thing is so deeply embedded into me from my childhood that I can't just swipe it and say like, oh, I could do this one thing that would change this bad way of thinking. This anxious way of thinking.
Well, do you think you're a perfectionist in the way of just how you come off to people, or how you are in your relationships, or is it like everything, like with work, with school, how you like decorate your house, kind of something like that broad, or is it more just like?
I don't know. I kind of notice it everywhere, because like I said, it's hard to have conversations with people and feel like I'm not there, like I'm not trying to control this thing to be like such an amazing conversation. Because like I know I have that depth, but not everybody else does. And so I have these crazy expectations in myself that I'm like, okay, like at any moment I could talk and something monumental would come out. Like I'm a perfectionist in the sense of, when I'm around other people, I write like these power lists, like my to-do list. I'll have 5 things that I want to accomplish through the day. And sometimes I don't really have anything to do, so I'll just like literally create something, like read 10 pages of your book. But I've noticed, pushing so hard to be productive and to be perfect on the things that you do, it's like I'm not really enjoying who I am right now. That's why the self-improvement world is kind of dangerous and toxic, because they're capitalizing off of your insecurities. You see so many self-improvement videos on YouTube,
that's true.
Self-help books. It's because, and I'm not against self-improvement. I'm an encourager of it, but I think I've traveled so far down that line that I don't like what I'm doing right now. And I'm doing all these things, but what's really the purpose of doing all these things? If that makes sense.
You're just sort of trying to get these tasks done because you need to get these tasks done, or like not necessarily because, I don't know, you feel like you're doing it for an outside reason instead of just like intrinsically being like, this is gonna better me.
Do I actually
for
want to read the
myself.
book?
Yeah.
No, I'm like, oh, reading 10 pages would be
Yeah.
good. Like, smart people read books, so
Yeah.
here, read 10 pages. But
Mhm.
do I actually want to do it? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's a part of that avoidance again, too,
Mhm.
of having that anxiety, but filling your day with things to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's kind of deeply layered. Like, the things that we want to change about ourselves aren't so easy. You know, and then there's people that, you know, they were just never like that, so they don't understand what it's like to be a perfectionist. Like, it's not fun.
Yeah.
I think the only way that being a perfectionist is good is it helps me with my podcast or like my YouTube channel. I'm always thinking about how can I make this product better.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to talking to people and I can't just be comfortable and relaxed, that's where it's like, all right, dude, like you're a stone cold perfectionist.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, I've seen you've had those interviews online with, were those just like people you know, or are those like strangers kind of like?
Are you talking
the
about
quarantine diaries?
the lost year?
Yeah.
Oh, so for my senior seminar this year, we had a semester-long project, and I chose to. It was like a journalist story, but I didn't want to write a story. I wanted to do podcasts. I wanted to interview people. So I pretty much just made this really broad category of like, how has COVID affected students? How has it affected faculty? How has it affected staff? And then I found people that were willing to talk from different colleges.
Wow, yeah.
And so that's what it turned out to be.
Yeah.
But in a lot of those interviews, I'm kind of asking the same questions that I was asking the person before.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to write a story. I was like, I'd rather talk to people and get their experience. So that's what that was.
Yeah, it's more of a like digestible form of like communication too. Like audiobooks are probably bigger than they've ever been.
Well, even video
Podcasts,
too. Like that's
videos.
like, especially our generation. Like we don't read books. We don't like to read long posts on Instagram. We like videos because it captures our attention.
Yeah.
We're much more willing to watch like a 2-minute video as opposed to like a 5-minute read.
Yeah.
Because that just takes too long.
Yeah. But then in reality, you have way more time than you think you do, and so.
Oh yeah. Especially if you're gonna get on your phone and you probably have no reason. Well, you could read it.
Yeah. Exactly.
You're just lazy. Just scroll to the next post.
Yeah, that is exactly. Yeah. You just never get enough too.
I think I'm pretty good about not checking my phone. Like I'll delete Facebook and Instagram off of it, and I'll just check it at the end of the night.
Oh yeah.
But I don't really. There's not really a time in the day where I'm like compulsively checking my phone.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, for some apps I had to turn off notifications because if I had notifications pop up from certain apps, like my phone, like my messages, sometimes I turn off my notifications, but like emails, Snapchat, Instagram, you just turn it all off, and so you don't even think about it when you're going through your day if you don't have any notifications pop up.
Yeah.
So that's what I found. That helps a lot with like being distracted and avoiding it. Social media.
Well, that's the best way to break a bad habit is just to cause resistance to it. So there's all those blockers that you can put on your phone that make it harder to actually want to check your phone. Or if you're not constantly getting alarmed with different notifications, like you said, you're not even going to think about it. You're going to have your phone put away and you're not going to hear it. And then you're like, all right, well, I'll do something else. I'll work on this project, or, you know, I'll meditate, I'll read a book, whatever.
Yeah, that's what, like, we had something at school called, like class points or something. It'd be this app where if you open up this app on your phone and you kept it closed, like when you're in class or when you're at school, they'd give you points and you could like spend it for like discounts at like Chick-fil-A or like Subway or like the restaurants.
That's so cool.
And so that's
a great idea.
And so you'd like it incentivized people to just not be on their phones during class, and it worked really well. Yeah.
That's amazing because, well, I mean, it happens at any college, but I think one of the things I noticed the most at Iowa State in those big lecture halls is like everybody was on their phones or they were texting on their MacBook.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how it was so distracting for me, and I wasn't even on my phone. I was looking at other people on their devices.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how could you pay attention to the lecture or the material when you're constantly like talking to somebody?
Yeah.
And I mean, I think Zoom is a blessing from the pandemic, but it's a lot harder to focus online.
Yeah.
When you're on Zoom, like
Yeah.
so many things can go wrong in your apartment.
Yeah. You could just be you could be on Zoom and like also be browsing the internet, and sometimes you could get away with it, you know.
Yeah, because they can't call you out, especially if your
Yeah.
mic is muted. They
Yeah.
don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
There was one time where, so like in the fall of 2020, that semester, I had a Zoom class, and this fucker right here, this cute little delicate little cat that you guys can't see, I had a different desk at the time, so I was lined up right up to the window, but he came in here tweaking, and he jumped up, and he got his claws stuck on the fuck is that called? The curtain. And I had to unhook him, but when I unhooked him, he hooked me with like in my skin.
Oh.
And I was on Zoom, and I was like, oh shit, and then I pressed the mute because it fucking hurt.
Yeah.
And then I had to run to the bathroom and get a Band-Aid, and I heard my professor, she was like, and if everybody could show their faces so I know that you're here, that would be awesome. And I was like, dude, I just got attacked by my cat. I can't be here in front of the screen.
Oh yeah.
That's the type of shit that happens on Zoom.
Yeah.
Weird shit will happen to you.
Yeah, it goes down on Zoom.
You didn't really have to deal with it though, because you had already graduated, right?
Yeah,
Did
I didn't have to do it much.
Did you do any interviews over Zoom?
Yeah, I've done interviews over Zoom, and I did like substitute teaching authorization to be like a substitute. That was over Zoom that took like a week long. That was like 20 hours. 20 hours for 1 week, so that's not much though.
No.
That's not much time at all.
No, it's not bad. For this last year I've been a part-time student, so I didn't really have to take many credits, and honestly, other than that first semester when COVID hit, I haven't really had any classes that were on Zoom. So I've been in person. I haven't really had to deal with it, but all those interviews that I did, those were over Zoom. And at some point, after you've used it long enough, you can become pretty proficient at like navigating Zoom. Like it was very awkward in the beginning. I remember in a classroom setting, I would like constantly go look at like what they were doing.
Yeah.
Or like I would have my camera on so I could see myself, and it would trip me out like when I would start talking, because I could see myself talking, then I would start thinking about that as I'm talking. So I realized one of the best things to do when you're on Zoom is click the minimize button so you can't see yourself.
Yeah.
Because then you just see the person you're talking to.
Yeah.
And that helped out.
Genius.
Yeah. Yeah, one simple click and everything changed.
Yeah. That's crazy. Did you like Zoom classes? Generally?
The thing I appreciated the most about them is it made it flexible. So like if one of my professors couldn't meet up, got sick or something, you could switch over to Zoom really fast.
Yeah.
And that was nice, but I definitely could not do a whole semester on Zoom. I think that would be too much.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what a lot of my friends from Utah, they were like, I can't do another semester on Zoom. Like, I'm just going to take a gap semester or a gap year and just not even worry about that for the most part. Yeah.
Well, maybe it'll fade away though. Like if COVID does end, or if there is an end in sight. Like I don't really know if there is, but I think a lot of places are planning on going back to like, if they didn't have in-person classes, that's probably what they're gonna do in the fall, or maybe they'll probably still require masks and social distancing. But a lot of people have gotten vaccinated. You see now like sporting events are letting people in. The MMA down in Florida, the card with Usman and Masvidal.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Did you see the knockout?
I did not see I saw the replay of the knockout, but I watched the fight before that, and then it scared me out, so I stopped. The one with Chris Weidman or his broken leg.
Oh yeah.
So I couldn't. I stopped watching after that. I was too. It freaked me out.
Where were you watching it? Were you streaming it?
Yeah, I was in Indiana at the time.
Okay.
It wasn't my friend's stream. I wasn't streaming it, but
yeah. Well, wasn't it
Dana?
What, you remember that nasty leg injury with
Silva, Anderson?
Wasn't
Silva.
that against Weidman?
Yeah, Weidman.
That's so crazy how Weidman like essentially got the same injury.
Yeah.
Like it looked like his leg was
Freak
flopping. Yeah.
It was.
That was an insane card though, because you had that fight, but then Rose Namajunas, Thug Namajunas.
Yeah.
Did she submit somebody or did she knock somebody out? I think she knocked the girl out that she was facing. And then you had Usman take down Masvidal with one hit.
Yeah, he's a killer. Usman, I think might be. I was talking to a friend about this. Usman might be like one of the goats, honestly, because he's undefeated in UFC.
Yeah.
He lost he only lost one fight, and it was like very amateur, like right when he started.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been like undefeated since then. He's beat everybody in his division. I think. I don't know who else he can fight.
He's only getting better too. Like it seems like he's getting better over time. Like as he gets older, he gets better.
Yeah.
Which some fighters will decline with age, but like McGregor, you know, he's kind of been iffy, a little wishy-washy in his last few fights.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to him. Maybe it's because he became a dad and just maybe didn't prioritize fighting as much.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm hyped for that fight with Poirier. That third fight with Poirier.
Yeah.
I'm still a huge McGregor fan.
Tiebreaker.
I still fucking love McGregor, dude. People give him a lot of shit, but dude, like, he is one of the guys that like made me fall in love with that sport.
Yeah. Yeah.
He got to people's heads like with his shit talking. It's definitely Aldo, man. Like Aldo was the reigning champ for what, like 10 years running, and then just got stiff as a board.
Yeah.
14 seconds knockout.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, Conor definitely had his huge peak. I think bigger than any other UFC fighter, obviously, ever.
Yeah.
I don't know about boxing. I don't know how it compares to boxing, but he was like the pinnacle. And he's also like he's one champ. He's like made millions of dollars. Like who knows? Maybe he doesn't feel the urge to fight as much.
I think when he was up and coming, he was hungry, and I think as he's gotten older and he's settling down and he's having a family, he's stacked for life. Like he can take care of them. But I think not that he doesn't have the same desire and grit. I just think he got to a point in life where he was kind of comfortable and he didn't have to necessarily like, you know, go so hard to make a living because he's fine now. Yeah. And I think that happens not only to people that are in the fighting industry, that happens to musicians too. So a lot of people gave flack to A Day to Remember for their newest album, You're Welcome.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you ever listened to A Day to Remember.
I don't, but I know who they are.
They got so much flack for You're Welcome, which they released on March 5th of this year. And I just don't ever understand critics of either fighting or like some sort of arts or communication. Mm-hmm. They're mad that A Day to Remember won't make a record like Homesick, which was the record that got them known. I'm like, but they also made Homesick when they were like early 20s. Yeah. Like they're all dads now and they're all married. They're not in the same mindset that they were in when they made Homesick. Yeah. And if you want to go listen to Homesick, go listen to Homesick. Yeah. It's still there. Like,
do you think the album's good, or do you think it's just evolved past the point where, like, do you think they've evolved well, or do you think they've evolved and it also is just like kind of not that great?
I mean, it's definitely. I mean, I'm not gonna try and sound like one of those people that I just gave shit to. It's definitely not as good as their old stuff, but I don't think it makes it bad though. I think there are some good tracks on there, but what A Day to Remember did, and I don't blame them for this, is they reached so much success in their genre of like pop punk and metal, and they kind of fused those two together, and they became kind of like the poster childs for their genre. They got so big that they started making music. They're like, how far can we go? Let's see if we can make like a more rock heavy album. Let's see if we can get on the radio. Yeah. And why wouldn't you? I mean, some people are going to call that selling out, but why not just try it and see what happens? I think a lot of people end up doing that, but they're always going to come back to their roots. Mm-hmm. So I'm okay with it. I'm okay that they made an album like this, and not every song is great. There are some good songs on there, but I think you kind of have to expect that, you know? There's so much pressure on artists, like once you make it, or fighters too, like once you make it to continue that success. Yeah. Just imagine how much pressure that would be.
Yeah. It's way easier when you have zero expectations and like nobody expects anything out of you.
That's where some of the greatest shit comes from. Yeah, like
exactly.
Red Hot Chili Peppers. You know how like they would make their music? They would just have like jam sessions in a big old like empty house in California. Mm-hmm. And they came out with fucking Californication and By the Way, two of some of the best music that I've ever heard.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Incredible music. Yeah.
Great music.
Yeah, I love it.
They're iconic. I mean, They're like probably one of my biggest influences in music.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm a pretty big rap heavy fan.
Yeah.
But I love the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
And they're coming out. They're working on a new album too.
Well, you were the one that spilled the beans to me about John Frusciante.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
John's back in the band?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's back, and so who knows? They're all like in their 50s now, so it might be.
They can still jam.
Yeah, they definitely can. We'll see how it is. Who knows? Can't imagine like my grandpa like making a rock album.
Yeah, but I think if they can still find like that, like they're in this position because they love making music, and I appreciate that. So even if we're not gonna get like whatever your favorite album is by them, I mean, even Stadium Arcadium was a really good album too. I always just appreciate hearing music, you know, like people did the same thing with Tyler the Creator when he made Igor. They were all like weirded out by it. I'm like, Igor's a good album. It's not Wolf Tyler.
Yeah.
But he's evolved as a person.
I like Igor a lot. Igor's
I like
sick.
him too.
Yeah.
I really like Flower Boy too.
Do you really?
That was kind of like his coming out party.
Yeah. Yeah, Flower Boy's pretty good. Yeah, I keep looking at it behind you, but Flower Boy's good. I'm glad you don't have Cherry Bomb up here.
Ooh, Cherry Bomb is the controversial one in the discography.
Yeah, I don't think. Did you like that album? I wasn't a big fan.
There wasn't many songs that I did like, and I think because it was so experimental, that can either happen. It can either be really good or it can be really bad. But if you're an artist, you gotta respect the fact that if you're gonna put something out there, like you're gonna get criticized by people.
Yeah.
That's irreversible.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna have an opinion on your shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he took a risk.
Yeah, at least he did that. At least he didn't do the exact same. Maybe glad he didn't do Wolf again or Goblin. You couldn't really just do that.
What do you think Earl will come out with next after Feet of Clay?
That's a good question.
How do you follow up Feet of Clay? Because I don't hate Feet of Clay, but I don't really know what to think of Feet of Clay. Like, it's not, there's no bops, which Earl's not really a bop heavy artist.
Yeah.
But I don't go back to that EP or whatever it's considered if it's an album.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's true, because he's gone so far experimental. It's like, honestly, you can't really top that in terms of experimental. Maybe he stops making music. Maybe he just does features for now. I don't know. Like you said, he was doing a feature with Freddie Gibbs.
He was doing a feature with Freddie Gibbs?
Or Benny, didn't you say that?
No, Alchemist.
Oh, Alchemist.
Yeah.
Sorry, Alchemist.
Which I think Earl sounds great on any Alchemist song or production. Like, anytime that Earl has made some material with him, I've loved it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Earl's kind of like, I don't know, he's kind of like in his own planet, his own world. He's like a very interesting artist in the regard that his stuff doesn't sound like anybody else's.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's definitely an incredible lyricist. Him and I've been listening to a bunch of Mad Villainy, like MF Doom, especially after he passed. When I was out in Utah, I just listened to a ton of Mad Villain. And I think Earl Sweatshirt was deeply inspired by MF Doom, and that was an album he did with Mad Villainy, or I think so. Or maybe he did some projects with The Alchemist too. But yeah, MF Doom is incredible. Just like if you like Earl, then you'd like Mad Villainy. I don't know if you've listened to that.
Well, I've heard Earl talk about him a lot, but I never went back and listened to MF Doom. I kind of think the same thing too, like with DMX. He just recently passed away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I knew some of his songs, but the praise that he got from other artists, this is kind of like Mac Miller's reception. I was like, damn, like, maybe I should go back. And that's shitty. Like, I always feel bad, because I hated people that wanted to go back and listen to Mac after he died, but it's kind of true. It's like when people die, their project, their art, it becomes more interesting.
Yeah.
Because, now they're not here.
Yeah.
You get to analyze it on a different level.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely, like, people who die earlier or younger, then that'll definitely, like, you're more of a legend than if you stay old, or, like Kurt Cobain is huge, like, way bigger than I think if he would be alive today, honestly, maybe. Because just his, like, legend status
Yeah.
Because he died so young.
Same thing with like Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah.
Prince was a little bit older.
Prince was old, yeah.
Same thing with Michael Jackson. He was a little bit older, but he still has a
Yeah.
huge influence on just music in general, not even one genre.
Mm-hmm. But like Juice WRLD like blew up after he died.
Juice WRLD,
XXX.
There was what's his name? He's a white boy with a bunch of tattoos.
Oh, Lil Peep.
Lil Peep. I watched that documentary on Netflix about him, and I didn't realize like how big he was because he was like taking different genres of music and creating this blend of sound.
Yeah, like Lil Pump's alive, but I bet if he would have died like after he made Gucci Gang, he'd be like huge.
Yeah,
which sounds
glorified.
Which is awful to say, but like that's just kind of how it is with like legends or like almost folk heroes. They feel like you know they burn out so bright.
Well, and some of those guys that had like really big hits like Gucci Gang, you knew that there was no longevity in there. Like what's his fucking face that has like the candy colored hair?
Oh, Tekashi.
Like I never listened to his shit. No. I don't know how anybody could find it interesting, but he's been in so much trouble over the years. Like I can't even count now how many times he's been arrested.
Yeah. No, he's died off too.
Yeah.
And see,
nobody talks about him.
That's what happens when you stay alive, honestly.
Yeah.
But I don't know, they got pretty morbid pretty quick, but
I don't know. Well, where were we going with that?
I meant it in good terms.
That'd take a completely separate route.
Well, I'm looking at your Hardy Boys picture.
Oh yeah.
Didn't Matt Hardy? He like stayed in the WWE like long. He was like a hero, and then he kind of turned heel. I know it's like wrestling. So
that's what they do, yeah.
But I remember there was a long time period where he was like hated.
Yeah.
That was just his character, though.
Yeah, well, and he's also, I mean, him and Jeff both have bounced around from different wrestling organizations. Jeff never turned heel, but when Jeff went to TNA, which was like probably the second biggest wrestling corporation right next to WWE, I don't know if it still is. Jeff Hardy, I mean, I don't know if you ever watched WWE or have any background knowledge of them, but Jeff had a lot of drug issues or like alcohol abuse, and there was one match in TNA. He was like the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, whatever. And he faced Sting. Sting is like an iconic WWE, but then he went to TNA, had the black and white paint on his face. They fought in a championship match, and like Jeff Hardy was like fucking trash.
Really?
And came out in the ring and could not even stand, and so Sting like just pile drived him really quick and pinned him, and you could tell that Sting was like upset at Hardy. So he's that kind of avoided your question, but that's just what I thought. Yeah, Matt Hardy, I don't know what he did. He probably did turn heel, because that's what wrestlers do. They'll turn heel, and then they'll be a good guy.
Yeah, that sort of a thing. I've been watching that. Not too much, but like I've been watching a lot of clips the past couple of days, just sort of reminiscing.
Did you watch it as a kid?
Yeah, I watched SmackDown. I didn't have cable, so I couldn't watch Raw, but I watched SmackDown pretty regularly.
Who was your favorite?
I was thinking about that. I'm like, I love Rey Mysterio, and I love Batista. And then Undertaker. Undertaker was really good, but he scared me. So I wasn't a big fan of Undertaker.
Every kid was mortified by the Undertaker. Like, he was one of the best wrestlers, but I hated his entrance. I was like, oh my god, it's the Undertaker. Dude, he's gonna come reap my soul.
Yeah, that was pretty scary when he'd always come out. But I watched them. I'd like, who else did I watch? I watched like something like Brian Kendricks and Paul London. They were just like high flyers.
They were tag team champions there for a while on SmackDown. And then MVP and Matt Hardy. There was that skit where like they hated each other, but they were forced to be teammates, and they ended up winning the tag team titles.
Wow, I remember that now.
But those were some of the best SmackDown days, because that's when they had the entrance with the fist coming out. That was the best stage ever.
That was sick.
And they had people like that. I think that's when I first started getting into it, and I would watch it over at my cousin's house. And then we became like obsessed. Like I still have a bucket full of all my WWE action figures.
Oh yeah.
And I don't want to get rid of them because I'm like, dude, this is like a gold mine right here. And if I ever have a boy, like maybe he'll want to play with them.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
He won't even know what WWE
Yeah.
is, but he's like, oh, these are cool action figures.
I would like for some reason I would love like the big like WWE wrestlers like the Great Khali.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Big Daddy V, or like Mark Henry.
Yeah.
Just like the huge guys.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why. I really like the really big like fat guys and then like the really small guys.
Like Hornswoggle.
Like Hornswoggle.
It was always crazy because like the big guys, like when they were in the Royal Rumble, you had to have like 5 or 6 medium-sized guys come up and pick up their legs to flip them over the top rope.
And even then, like you could see them like kind of like rolling back, the big guys, because they they'd have to give them some help to flip over the ropes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were the days. And Khali, there was one time on SmackDown where he took Rey Mysterio's head and he fucking crushed it with his palms, and so they had fake blood.
Yeah.
And I actually thought like Rey Mysterio was like fucking brain dead in that moment.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I was terrified when that happened.
They tricked us as kids, man. They duped us. I thought that shit was real.
Oh yeah, but it was fun to believe it was real.
I know.
It was so fun to think it was real.
And honestly, I don't know when you got out of WWE, but I probably still watched that shit when I was in middle school and maybe even the first years of high school. And then, like, even years now, like, sometimes when I know that the Royal Rumble is going to be on, I'll order it and I'll watch the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Or, like, I picked it up on the year that the Hardys returned at WrestleMania.
Oh, wow, yeah.
This was, like, 4 or 5 years ago, and there was a 3-way ladder match for the tag team titles, and then the New Day comes out, and they're like, and we've just received word that this triple threat match has turned into a fatal 4-way. And then the crowd's like, what? No way! And then they're like, who could it be? And so people are thinking like maybe it's gonna be the New Day. They're gonna come down. And then the Hardys music kicks in.
Yeah.
And the crowd goes fucking wild.
That's crazy.
And then they ended up winning the match.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, it's fun to just get into make believe and pretending like you're in that world, or not like in it, but like believing it is so pure.
I think it's also very appealing to young boys because at that time, like when your hormones are all weird, like our testosterone is like getting flipped around. Like I remember, God, this is gonna sound so weird on the podcast, but like, I mean, back in those early days of WWE, they would like have girls in like bikini matches, like in mud and shit. I remember like I would be playing with my fucking wrestlers, and I had like a few girl action figures, or then I would get on like YouTube or something, and I would watch some of those scenes where those girls were making out. Those were the first days I was receiving boners. I was like,
oh wow,
God, man.
Oh wow. Thankfully, I mean, maybe not thankfully. I don't know. That sounds kind of nice. But I wasn't. I quit watching before. I mean, I hit puberty. I was like in elementary. Like,
okay.
So yeah, I don't know. You probably that's probably a magical moment for you.
It was a trigger, man. I think I was in 7th grade and I was still watching WWE.
Who was your first wrestler crush? Or female?
Wow, that's a great question. I don't know. I really liked Tori Wilson.
Okay.
I thought she was a babe. Candice Michelle.
Oh yeah.
She was a good one. I really like Kelly Kelly.
That's what I was gonna say.
Kelly. She was like the Barbie blonde.
Yeah, she was like everybody's favorite, I think.
Yeah. And
or at least she was like the hot one.
There was a lot though. I mean, I thought Lita, she was kind of sexy with the tattoos.
Oh yeah, Lita.
But she had the best moves because she had like moonsaults. She would do backflips.
Oh yeah.
Like off at the top rope.
What about Vicky Guerrero?
Vicky Guerrero. Oh, I forgot about her.
She married the Edge.
Edge, there's no way in hell that like Adam Copeland, that's his real name. There's no way he was actually like attracted to her. Like.
Oh yeah, he just gotta get that check, you know.
Well, he ended up marrying Beth Phoenix.
Oh really?
And she had appeared in a few men's Royal Rumbles.
Oh okay.
She was muscular.
Like jacked. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That is funny how that happens. Yeah. Vicky Guerrero dated a lot of people, I think, in that.
She dated someone else in that.
She dated Teddy who's the old commissioner, the old black guy with the black, like
Teddy Long.
Teddy Long.
Yeah, she was like dating him for a while, and then he like fake died in the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. Forgot about that.
Yeah.
Man, this is bringing up so many memories.
I know, it's unlocking something that you forgot you had.
Yeah, because I mean, I would get so hyped to watch Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, even ECW there for a while, and literally that's all me and my cousins would talk about when we would hang out, and we would trade wrestling cards. We even started our own wrestling league. And we made like fake belts out of like cardboard boxes.
Oh, nice.
Like we were deep into it.
Yeah.
Like it was insane, and yeah, there's so many iconic moments, like when Jeff Hardy, he did that swanton bomb on Randy Orton off of that really tall. It was like closer to the entrance of the arena, and he climbed up like two or three stories, and he did a fucking swanton.
That's crazy.
And I was like, how's Randy Orton not dead?
Yeah.
He didn't even land on him. They just didn't show the camera angle.
Oh, shoot.
He landed on a mat because how could you land on somebody from that high? He would crush Randy Orton's ribs.
Yeah.
If he actually landed on him.
Yeah. Dude, that is true. I know that's true, but I like to believe that he landed on him.
Yeah, as a kid, you're like, fuck.
Even now, I pretend like it's real.
Yeah.
Kind of just got to.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to, but it's way more fun if you think it's real. If you just like get into it.
Dude, if I have kids and my little boys are into it, I'm gonna allow them to believe it. I'm not gonna say that they're not real.
Yeah.
I was so upset as a kid when people would give me shit for liking WWE. I was
Really?
like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
This is my shit.
Yeah.
You never seen Jeff Hardy do a swanton bomb, dude? That's like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah. You ever seen the Batista bomb?
Oh yeah.
Or the Triple H pile driver?
Yeah. Sweet Chin Music from Shawn
Oh yeah, that was
Michaels.
great.
Or like when he'd jump off the top rope and he'd give him the elbow.
Yeah.
Or like John Cena's "You Can't See Me." I remember we would get on trampolines, us cousins, and we would practice all those WWE moves.
Yeah,
on each
I
other.
did that too with my little brother. I pretty much.
Did
I
you
was
beat his
older.
ass?
Yeah, I mean, I was older than him, and so I was bigger than him, and so I could just pretty much use him as like my practice. But yeah.
Your practice dummy?
Yeah, practice.
Like, hey bud, come here. I'm just gonna throw you around for a little bit.
Yeah. Well, did you do that with your brother at all?
Yeah, I don't think I ever really hurt him though, but you remember Caleb Bass?
Yeah.
So again, not to throw Caleb or anybody under the bus that ends up watching this podcast if you get to this far, but there was one time, so Caleb lived in our neighborhood, our old neighborhood, and we had this spot on the corner, and this was like our hangout place, and it was one of those green electrical boxes, so we'd sit on it.
Yeah.
So one day we were all out there, and Caleb picks up my brother to do a Batista bomb, and I don't know why Caleb did this, but he fucking threw my brother on the concrete, like Batista bombed the fuck out of him on the pavement. And my brother was like crying and had to run home, and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you, bro? Like, you could have at least chose the grass to like the nice plush grass to the right, but he took my brother and just Batista bombed him right into the ground.
Like flipped him up.
Yeah, did the whole thing, like put him under his legs, flipped him up, and threw him down.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, Caleb, like, you're a dick. What was that for?
Wow.
I don't know if he like slipped or something and then accidentally pile drived him into the cement.
No, he knew what he was doing, I bet.
Yeah, Caleb. Oh my God, he was a crazy individual. But yeah, I mean that's what we would do. Not only that, we would go to Simpson, and they used to have those mats that you could jump on, like the pole vaults. We'd go fight. We'd go fight each other on those.
Yeah. Okay.
Or like trampolines. I mean, it was like all the time. It was like, I think that was like probably the only thing I thought about as a kid was being a WWE wrestler.
I feel you on that. Yeah, definitely, dude. Easier times back then.
I know. Now we're just old and life is crumbling away.
What do you keep in that jar right there? Are those like little notes you like write for yourself? Or?
It was an idea in therapy. My therapist told me to like write down like random things. So like one of them was, get up and go outside. So if I find myself like inside kind of getting bored, I'll pull one of those out, and whatever it is, then I'll go and do that thing.
Oh, wow.
So then one of them one time was to shave, like do a new facial hair. So then I did that.
But yeah, I haven't touched that in a while.
Do you do it every time you pull one out? Do you do it no matter what? Have you done it every time?
No, there's been a few
Sometimes
times
you
where
pull it
I
out
put it
and
back.
then, like-
Well, because one of them didn't make sense, or like I didn't have enough time. It was like go to Des Moines and do something random, and I didn't have time to do it. So then I threw it back in. But yeah, the 2 that I've pulled out, I've done.
Mm-hmm. That's good. And do you feel better after you do it usually?
Well, the one time that I shaved my face, I always regret it because I think maybe this is just an insecurity of mine and people don't notice it, but I feel like when I don't have a beard, I look fucking chubby.
Really?
And I got like 3 chins.
Huh.
It's probably not the truth, but
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
that's why I think I look better with a beard, but I like keeping a beard because it covers up the turkey gobbler.
Oh, yeah.
Loose change down there.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's probably not as bad as I think it is, but I look at myself every day in the mirror, so.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I started growing out a mustache too, just to sort of change things up.
Do you like
See
it?
if I could. I think I like it. I like it. I mean, it's not that great. I mean, it's getting there. It's not as thick as yours would be, but I mean, I can't grow anything else. I can't grow sides or like anything else anywhere else. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much all that I could pass with.
Yeah, sometimes, I don't know, like I have friends who didn't have much facial hair, but then over the years, as they kept shaving, it started to get thicker and thicker and thicker.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's just something over time, or it's genetics too.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of got lucky that on my dad's side, there's a lot of facial hair to steal from.
That's nice. Yeah. One day I'll get there, I think, but we'll see. I'm okay. I'm chilling with it for now.
Yeah. Well, Mitch, I think we're approaching maybe an hour here. So before we dip off, like what are you looking to gain from your experience up in Wisconsin?
Again, I think it's just, I feel like it's a good opportunity to try a new job and start fresh and just sort of put myself out there, not knowing anybody. So I'm hoping to express myself more, whether it be through my work, I'll probably be joining like a gym or like a yoga gym, hopefully like some sort of community-based event, maybe it'd be like sand volleyball for all I know. Just sort of learning to express myself and just be myself more now that I kind of know who I am as a person, and hopefully, maybe I'll find somewhere that I love and I'll like stay there long term. Maybe I won't, but I mean, if anything, I'll just gain more experience instead of doing something new.
Yeah. Well, I think what you did by going out to Utah like that's amazing. Like how you just kind of like took a leap of faith. Not that there wasn't like, you knew that you weren't gonna like just fall flat on your face if you went out there. But there is a risk because you didn't really have anything else going on and you didn't really know where to turn. So you're like, all right, let's just go out here. And now you're doing the same thing with Wisconsin. Like you're just kind of going out there and experiencing life and growing as a result. And I admire that because I want to do the same thing. I want to get out for a little bit.
You'll do it too. I know you will. You just gotta stay faithful.
One more thing before we end this, because when you wrote me that letter long ago, you were talking about how the people are weird out there, but you couldn't describe it. What did you mean? Are you talking about the Mormons?
The Mormons, well, I mean, I didn't really meet too many specific Mormons, but I don't know, it sort of felt like, it did feel sort of, just, maybe not every family is Mormon out there, but a lot of them at least come from that background or have that sort of belief. Like, there wouldn't be like bars, they'd have like their big thing out there was like soda bars, where you go and you get a soda with like many different like flavorings or like slushies, stuff like that. But that was just like mostly the city. It seemed like a very like it seemed like very, not as indie, but like a little bit more like cutthroat, like cut and dry. Like, I am married with my wife, like I'm gonna go walk a dog after work, and maybe I'll have like one beer after dinner or like with dinner, and that'll be like my fun. But there's a good mix of those kinds of people, and then like the other people like who are more introspective and like more into learning, like you, maybe a little indie, like like just sort of like being themselves and expressing themselves.
That's what I would want, you know, is like to meet a good group of friends out there that were like-minded, like, you know, because I'm not ready to have kids at any time soon.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I definitely think, you'd fit in for sure. But yeah, there is that. You definitely can see people from both sides of the spectrum out there.
Yeah. Well, I had coworkers too that had been out to Utah. One guy that I work with, Tim, and we were talking about it. He's like, well, you know, the Mormons are really nice. They're not going to harass you or anything, but they're probably going to come up and maybe like a conversation starter where they see your tattoo. And like, oh, hey, that's a really cool tattoo. But then at some point they're going to ask you if you want to consider being a Mormon.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are they so populated out in Utah? Like, what is it with Utah that that's where all the Mormons went to?
Yeah. I think there's definitely enough of normal people where like you can find your own niche and find your own footing for sure.
I'm excited, man. I'm gonna get out there this
do
summer.
Let's do it. Yeah. Let me know when you go out.
Yeah, you're gonna have to give me some advice on places to like.
I will.
Go to.
Yeah. It's a sick area for sure.
Yeah. All right, bro. Well, it's been a pleasure as always.
Absolutely.
First person. You were the first person. No, you were the second person to come on twice, but you're the first person to come on 3 times.
There we go.
Record breaking.
Wow, I'm like the Joey Diaz.
You are becoming like the most consistent person to come on Nurture the Mind.
Oh, it's an honor. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, bro.
Of course.
I'll see you soon.
Of course.